Hey guys, Jordan Buckingham. I'm an executive consultant with Ambit Energy, and I am also super fired up to be with you on the inaugural EGR live broadcast to all over the world. I mean, what's incredible is YouTube is a global thing. So this is a great way to present to your prospects that are potentially even in other countries, because you may not have a live business presentation going in another country, but you can certainly get to them right here on YouTube Live. So super fired up to be here. And guys, my portion is relatively short on this piece of the presentation tonight. I get to do two things. I get to share with you a little bit about what's happened to me with Ambit. And then secondly, I get to bring on our closing speaker, who is a really great friend of mine now, and a guy that's really impacted a lot of people, thousands and thousands and thousands of people across the nation. So let's just get started with my story briefly. My name's Jordan Buckingham. I'm an executive consultant with Ambit Energy now, but that wasn't always the case. Whenever I first got started in this business, I was serving tables at Joe's Crab Shack. I brought people their food. So I really didn't have any credibility with anyone in my life. But my dad called me one day and said, "Son, I found something that's going to make us a lot of money." And he'd made a lot of money in his life, so I listened to him. And when I first got involved, I was going to engineering school at the University of Texas at Austin. So I began building my business there in the Austin area. And that's actually where I met Shawn Cornett and his business partner, Damian Pakacek. Great guys. They became mentors of mine and began to build the business. So I graduated after promoting a couple times, like you saw in the 15-minute video that you saw a few minutes ago, to the senior consultant position. But I had acquired about $80,000 in debt. I was $75,000 in debt when I graduated from UC. And I decided to do that my whole life. So it was really then that I got serious with my Ambit Energy business. I was able to buy my first home, beautiful home here in San Angelo, Texas, and the first mortgage that I ever paid in my life, and all the expenses associated with my new place, I paid with the part-time money that I made in Ambit that month. Fast forward 24 months, I completely annihilated that $75,000 in student debt. And then I was looking at my Ambit, and I said, man, this could be a freedom vehicle for me if I treat it more seriously. At the time, I was working 60 hours a week as a petroleum engineer, doing Ambit 5 or 10 hours a week, just very, very part-time. But I upped my game. I decided I wanted to take this to a freedom level, so I started working 10 or 15 hours a week part-time. Now, it still doesn't sound like a lot of time, but I can tell you, when you've got a leveraged model like this, some pretty incredible things can happen. So I ended up hitting the executive position where I am now, in addition to my 60-hour work week, working 10 or 15 hours a week on Ambit. And my weekly paychecks, whenever I hit that position, were exceeding my mortgage. I looked up, I had more money coming in from Ambit than I had going out in my monthly bills, and I was financially free. So at 28, I resigned from a strong your income as a petroleum engineer to build my Ambit business full time. And now I'm so glad I did, because I get to travel the world with my beautiful fiance, Vanessa Meyer, and we are just rocking this business. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my business partner, the closing speaker tonight, an absolute rock star of a guy. He's my good friend, Shawn Cornett. But before he comes on the line, I got to brag on him a little bit. So there are certain people in life that will make a huge impact on the trajectory of your future. And for me, this was one of those guys. Whenever I first got involved, guys, I had no idea what I was doing. But fortunately, Shawn had a little bit of network marketing background, and he showed guys like me the ropes. So whenever I first got involved and I started rock and rolling, he was a big mentor of mine. But not only was he a mentor of mine, he was a mentor to thousands upon thousands of other people, which is why he was recognized by a few incredible things. Number one of my favorite awards that Shawn's ever won is called the Pace Setter Award. And the year that he won it, it means he had more senior consultants promote in his executive consultant organization than any other consultant in Ambit Energy in his EC code. In addition to that, him and Damian are Pure Energy Award winners, recognized nationally by the company now, and have gone all the way to the top rank, which you saw in the 15-minute video, of national consultant. Whenever you see him in a second, he's wearing a really bright, crazy yellow jacket, which signifies that he's earned over $1 million in commissions in this business. And to tell you the truth, I can't think of a better guy to close out the meeting. So Shawn, thank you so much for having me as a special guest. I'm going to turn it over to you. And guys, listen up. This guy knows what he's talking about.
Well, thank you, Jordan. It is an incredible honor to share the opportunity this evening. I appreciate the intro. And you're a rock star in your own right for sure. One of the guys that's just blazing the business, and as many of you saw him down in Dallas at Ambition, took home one of the Pure Energy Awards. So an incredible guy doing an incredible job in the business, and it's just been incredible to see your transformation as a guy working this business as a part-time college student to now, this is your freedom business. You paid off your house. You had a career that no longer serves you as a petroleum engineer, which, I'm sure many people would be, enviable to have a solid job like that. But, the Ambit opportunity is far bigger than that. Myself, I come from an entirely different background. Honestly, couldn't get more different. I dropped out of college. and I like to say I'm a serial entrepreneur and not always very good at it. Because at the time that I was introduced to this opportunity for the first time by my friend Steve, I was in a really bad rut. And, I was in a position where, honestly, I wasn't open to it. I wasn't interested in Ambit because I was so tired of opportunity after opportunity failing me, or me failing it. Any way you want to look at it, things just weren't working out, and I kind of got to the point where I thought, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one that can't succeed at these businesses. Maybe obviously there's other people making money. There's they're crossing stage. You always hear about the money being made, but I couldn't quite get there, and I was never able to get over the hump. And so I started to think, well, maybe I just need to get a regular job. Maybe I need to move on and give up the dream. And kind of that was that point in time. It was really a low point in time, honestly, where I was. And so it took an incredible amount of perseverance for Steve to break through when he first shared the opportunity with me. And there's a little bit of a training lesson in this. I'll share it very quickly and then leave with a few points to think about as you go forth here this evening. If you're someone taking a look at this for the first time, but my sponsor I have to be incredibly thankful to, because I didn't make it easy on him. Steve, I was the guy that received phone call after phone call after phone call after phone call, and I ignored them all, let them all go to voicemail. And Steve was a guy that I respected. I knew a lot. I liked him, and I would have loved to work with him, but that's just where I was in life. I wasn't receptive, even though I needed it. And so it's an incredible paradox to think about that, and I'm sure everyone knows people that are in just that situation today. And so finally he left me a message, and it went something like this. He said, "Shawn, I thought we were friends. And if we're friends, I hope you'll call me back and at least let me know if you're okay. I assume you're dead or in the hospital or something, to not have returned my call by now." And naturally, that was the call that I returned. And that call that message literally changed my life, because from that point forward, obviously took a look at Ambit, and it really was a no-brainer, as I think it is for a lot of people when they first take a look. But for me, it took a lot to get me to take a look. And, that was 10 years ago. I took a look at a presentation, actually a lot different than the one you just saw, because we didn't have free energy back then. We only had one state to operate in back then. Now we're in 15 states, DC. We're talking about international expansion. We've got free energy. We've got, an incredible opportunity that has just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger every single year. And I think back, and it's interesting. As I look back on my success with this opportunity and Ambit's success in general, there's a few key reasons why I believe this has worked so well for me, and why I'm now in a position to, pursue my dreams, spend time with my family. In fact, for me, I jokingly tell a story, and I got to check my time, make sure I don't get too far ahead of myself. But I jokingly say that, when I was first introduced to the opportunity, I wasn't married, but I wasn't even in a position to date because I was too poor. As the story goes, I was sharing with a friend when I first started Ambit, just kind of laughing about it at the time, but it was really kind of sad that, even if I had met the woman of my dreams at that point in time in my life, it wouldn't have worked, because I didn't have any money. I didn't have a car. It was involuntarily taken from me. if you know what that means. So I see Jordan laughing there. It's hard for me to concentrate, but it's true. And so, I thought to myself, gosh, even if I met the woman of my dreams, I'm not man enough to, or didn't have enough confidence, especially at that point in time in my life, to ask her out and then, ask her to pick me up and then ask her to take me out to dinner and take me out to a movie and then drop me off back home again. It just, that's not the way you envision it. You know what I'm saying? And so the Ambit opportunity has literally transformed my life in more ways than I could possibly communicate, especially in a few short minutes here. But, fast forward now to the day that Ambit has carried us through, and some incredible adversity. In fact, from a prior business to Ambit, I ended up going through a very lengthy and expensive lawsuit. And the Ambit residual income and the solidarity of counting on that and having that growing security of Ambit's residual is what allowed us to get through all that. And unfortunately, I'm actually still paying that off. It was quite a nightmare. But in any case, what it's done for me has been nothing short of life-changing. And there's a few key things that I think you should look at as you're evaluating the Ambit opportunity here this evening. Maybe for the first time, or maybe not for the first time, but maybe you've seen it and you're deciding if this is something you really want to engage in. So let me just share a couple of thoughts with you here. Number one, this is something that the very fundamental thing that we're building a business around here. Energy, natural gas and electricity. It's different. When you share a business built around this kind of thing, people react to it differently than if you were sharing, and I don't mean to downplay any other opportunity or business, but there's a lot of gadgets and health products and lotions and potions and juices and makeups and spray this, body wrap that. There's a lot of stuff out there. But let me just tell you something. When you're sitting down face to face with an executive or a banker or somebody, that really is a sharp person, a lot of times those things don't receive a good reaction. And what I a lot of times attribute my success to in Ambit is that previously I had done all those other things and done well to some degree. But what I found when I started sharing this opportunity, because it was natural gas, electricity, because it was energy deregulation, I just got a different reaction from people that I wasn't used to. I was getting, I was able to attract people to this opportunity that wouldn't touch any of those previous things I was doing with a 10-foot pole. I was attracting a higher caliber of individual to this business. But generally speaking, across the board, I was just attracting more people. And so what I found is, even though I started this business in a position where I did not live in a deregulated territory where we offer service, I really didn't know a whole lot of people that lived in areas that we offered service. But just those few people I did know, because of this, really what I would attribute as the superiority of what we offer to the marketplace, I was able to attract them to this business, and it really just floored me. And that's really, if I were to narrow it down to one single thing, that's what I would attribute my success in Ambit Energy to, because I was so used to, these other opportunities and just, not getting that same reaction. And so it's just different here. And so realize that what we have is fundamentally something different. It's a service, it's not a product. People every single person can relate to what we offer. And it's important to people, which is what makes this business stand out differently. Secondly, and I can very much relate to this as well, we're not asking you to give up what you're doing. This is a part-time business for most people for the first several years, and it was for me too. Just like Jordan, he built it part-time as he was going through college. Well, I built it part-time as I was working multiple jobs, trying to keep my neck above water. And one by one, I was able to get rid of those other things I was doing to keep my neck above water as Ambit grew along the way. And now with the residual income that this business provides, it's just a kind of freedom that I can tell you it just isn't possible anywhere else. And the speed with which you can develop a residual income here is incredible. I grew up in a house that you may have heard from the video. I think I shared the story in there. My dad was in insurance. And that's part of what allowed me to see this opportunity for what it is that I grew up with residual income. My dad, he played golf and a lot of other dads couldn't. And we had a kind of freedom that other families didn't. And it's because he spent 40 years building an insurance agency, but it took 40 years. And with Ambit, in a matter of 4 years, I was making more money than he was in insurance after 40. The numbers are incredible. And the reason that's possible to build a residual income that fast is because of our compensation plan. Because this is a business that isn't just driven around residual income, the income that you can generate from a service that people, just can't live without. We're addicted to it, to energy. Habitually purchase, unconsciously used, or vice versa, however it goes. But this is a business where you can create leverage. And leverage, my friends, is the secret of the wealthy. You're either leveraging time or you're leveraging money. Well, here's an opportunity where you don't have to leverage money. You don't have to have hundreds or thousands or millions of dollars in the bank to draw interest off of, but you can get started, and with a little bit of sweat equity, you can develop leverage, because every single time you introduce a new person to this business, your business now has 24 more hours of access. Think about that. Anything you do, you're limited to 24 hours, but every single time your business grows by a new consultant, you have the leverage of 24 more hours of your day. And as your business grows and grows, and the compound effect of building a growing team of consultants that are gathering customers with you and introducing others to the opportunity, you're able to create leverage like is not possible in very many places in this world. You'd have to build a business and have employees and deal with all of that headache to gain leverage any other way. Here, it's available to everyone. And that's an incredible, incredible aspect of our compensation plan. The next thing is timing. Let me just check the clock here. I'm gonna have to get moving. I look back over the years of this opportunity in business, and timing, I truly believe, is one of the things that keeps getting better and better. Because, when Jordan and I were getting started 8, 9, 10 years ago, Ambit was a baby. In fact, especially when I took a look at it, I knew it was a great concept. It made sense, but there was no proof that Ambit was going to make it. Most startups don't. So it was a big gamble going with a startup company that had no track record, nothing proven. Folks, now the beauty of your situation is that it's not even a question of whether or not Ambit works. It's simply a matter of whether you'll work, because we've proven this on a $1 billion scale. You can't question anything of what you've just seen in the presentation. So think back on that, and if you have questions, it's just a matter of understanding it. It's not a matter of whether it's real, because there's no question whether it's real anymore. So the timing of being in a situation with a company that's solid and stable and proven, yet the marketplace that we operate in, energy deregulation, is so big, and we're still so early on to the process that we barely scratch what's possible in our industry. So you've got the best of both worlds of timing. The opportunity of a startup company, but the solid, stable security of a highly established company. And then lastly, folks, we've got a proven system. We figured a few things out over the past 10 years about how this business works and what the best way is to do it. And the beauty is that you're plugging into that system right now. This live broadcast is something that we'll be doing every single week. All you've got to do is plug into it and duplicate the exact same process that brought you to this very moment in time. And anybody can do that. It's as simple as following a few simple steps to share an opportunity with, a video or a website or DVD or whatever, and understand and have confidence that this isn't just going to make sense to you. This is going to make sense to a lot of other people. Have confidence in an opportunity that's already proven itself, and know that when you go out to share this, not everybody's going to be interested in Ambit, but a lot of people will. Your job is simply to make sure that everyone at least knows what's available with Ambit Energy. Because one thing's for certain, they're going to find out about Ambit with or without you. It's just a matter of whether they find out as a result of your efforts and the efforts of the team that you build, or someone else. It's just a matter of whether you want to insert yourself into what we call this shift of wealth taking place with energy deregulation. Well, the only way to insert yourself into that shift of wealth, to be a part of that shift, is if you let others know what's available here. That's your only job. And have confidence in knowing that this business makes enough sense that a lot of people are going to raise their hand and say, yeah, that makes sense to me too. Let's go. Let's do it. And so get with the individual that invited you. Get all your questions answered. Make sure that you're making a fully educated, informed decision. But bottom line, get started immediately. Take advantage of the timing you have, because you won't get this timing back. You know, these coming weeks, these coming months, these coming years, you know, more territories, more markets are going to open. Ambit's going to continue to grow. People are going to keep hearing about it. It's simply a matter of whether they hear better from you and your team or someone else. A year from now, I certainly hope that you look back on this moment in time and say, boy, I'm glad I did, and not I wish I had. So thank you so much for being a part of our broadcast this evening. It's been an incredible honor to kick this off here this evening. Again, just a couple of wrap-up notes here. We're going to be doing this same time, same place, every single week. In fact, we're going to be broadcasting live for both Central and Eastern time. So as you're building your business all across the country, you can plug into this exact same tool and have the confidence of knowing that every single week we'll have top presenters here ready to present the opportunity to your group, to your private business reception or home party or small group meeting, whatever it may be. Next week, we have an incredible lineup for you. And you know what, now I'm actually confusing who I have lined up. So let me just, I know next week, I'm pretty sure we've got Sherelle. Is it Sherelle? Well, I'm not, let me just give the next couple of weeks. I'm confusing weeks now. We've got Tony Procopio, Sherelle Slace. We've got Bob Granger lined up. We've got Pastor Kenny Smith. These are the next 4 speakers that we have lined up for you. I just honestly can't remember who's next week and who's the week after. Some of these are national consultants. A lot of them are $1 million earners. Top elite leaders that have proven themselves in this business. And I can tell you that anybody you bring to these presentations over the coming weeks is going to see an incredible presentation. And you'll be able to leverage us to build your business. So let me hand it back to my partner in crime here this evening. And let me see here, switch, wrong button. Okay, Jordan, you're back on. I just wanted to see if you had any final closing thoughts or words for the.
It was a perfect presentation, Shawn. I want to thank everybody for being on. And I do want to remind you that we're actually doing a live Eastern broadcast, which is this one that you're currently watching. But we're actually doing another one of these in actually about half an hour. We're going to start that presentation as well. So if you've got teams that are in Texas, or if you've got somebody on a central time zone that was doing a in-home presentation in their house around 7:30, be checking your emails, because we're going to be doing another one of these in just about 30 minutes. So appreciate you guys, and we'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. Take care. And that's a good point, Jordan. Just very quickly, you know what, if somebody missed this presentation, reach out to them right now. Share the 15-minute video, have them check it out, and then you can plug into our live presentation here in about a half an hour. We'll be going live with that. So take care. We're going to wrap up the broadcast and then start up on the Central Time. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining.